a moment ago, I just received delivery of this. Now, that's been smunched up in transit. It was delayed. COVID, bullshit, whatever. This is going to be, hopefully, if they've done it properly, my injection hairpiece. My first ever injection hairpiece. Color number 4. Definitely looks darker than what I've got on now. So remember I keep telling you that color number 4 is so ill-defined, it's very difficult to just pick it because they don't always choose the same color. Then again, this thing is 4M for mocha, so that's dark brown. So 4 definitely refers to dark brown of some sort. Alright, internationally. Alright, so I'm just going to peel this off this casing here. Look at the underside. It feels different. There are no ridges. The knots look very dark. It does have an Auschwitz tag, but it's the same color as the base material, which is good. We'll peel off. Seems louder than usual. Huh. Alright, so I don't know if this is 0.03, it feels pretty thick. That seems unreadable. What does the bag say? The bag says Model INSC 4. INSC4. Yeah, it feels... Alright, I'll just have a look at how many greys there are for a start. Can't seem to find any. How's that hair colour? Seems extremely dark, doesn't it? Maybe it'll work when I cut it and it's reflecting light the same way that my current hair is. But this is way too light, isn't it, what I'm wearing? So, alright, what have we got here? A bit of dust or something? A bit of COVID cluster sitting in their hairs there. What's the quality of the hair like? Seems fine. Are they greys? I was looking, but I don't think they are. This is a very clear crown area. This does disturb me somewhat because I think I'll only get one hairpiece out of this. If this injection system is forced in one direction, it cannot be deviated. There's no way to brush this away from facing the direction it's actually facing. In fact, let's just see what happens if I do try to brush that. No, I'm right, it's forced into the direction. Now, given that that crown spot there is there, I reckon I'll fit an entire hairpiece between there and there. It's pushing it. Finger up. You can sort of see from underneath. See? Spiraling out. Okay, so that's the outer limits. That I'll start here so it's easier to hold. Well, it might make it. Might make it. And let's just hope that all these back hairs are all going in a reasonable direction and towards the back. Well, they definitely are here, aren't they? And at the front they will be as well. Okay, so loud poly. Now, it's going to be hard to hold this and do that at the same time. I'm going to try to see it, the front hairline against skin. Wow, this is not transparent poly. Look at that poly. You can see through it. Look at this poly. That seems to have some color to it. That's a problem, isn't it? That's normal colored poly, which is no color. This color seems to have color. But then again, if I put my fingers through, you can still see the color of my finger skin, can't you? So that seems reasonable at the moment. Okay. Let's wet it. That's the back tag. So I just always assume, I probably shouldn't, but that this is dead center on the back of the hairpiece, and that's the opposite end of the front. So I'm going to spray water all over this hairpiece. Later on I'll wash it with shampoo and conditioner to get any factory chemicals and COVID out of it. But right now, well, I have been double vaccinated with Pfizer, so hopefully they haven't just sent me the Pfizer, the new Delta strain in here, which I'm not immune to. Or, that works. My shoulder still hurts from the injection site, but I think I've actually got an injury in my shoulder as well anyway. I just pinched it really bad earlier, just moving my arm behind me. Really, really hurt. So brushing this thing feels approximately the same as normal. I'm really seeing an absence of those cornfield lines I keep complaining about. It is exciting to think that this could be natural looking without the need for any bleaching of roots or anything. Although I am seeing some kind of cornfield lines happening here. A lot of straight lines. How does that look? Is that excitingly good or not? I can't really see from this angle. The light's in my face instead of the other way around. So when they say it has to be brushed forward, that's because these hairs will not bend back. At any rate, I think the next step is for me to just cut this out. I just cut these two pieces out. I gotta say, it's a very unstretchy base material. Rubbery and weird to cut. Always worried when I'm going through with scissors that I might be snipping through frontal hairs and so on. Not good. But if we look at the color, unfortunately it's wet, so it's not a good comparison, but this is the color number 4 from curvehairpiece.com, and this is the color number 4 from New Times Hair. I'll show a sample of Lord Hair's color number 4. Yeah, this is their 0.06 millimeter poly, their color number 4. So once again, this is Curve Hairpiece color number 4, Lord Hair color number 4, and Wet New Time color number 4. It looks like Lord Hair and New Time agree with each other, but Curve have kind of got it too light. So yeah, okay, so it was just the Curve piece, the one that I'm wearing right now, which is way too light. So this is their color number 4, but I think they made a mistake. So potentially there is some uniformity in color, what color number 4 actually means, which is leaning towards the dark end, medium dark brown, not just medium brown. Maybe maybe Curve just did the colors wrong. So you can see the way that's stitched in, I hope, because the camera can't get any closer for you. I don't have to be bothered twisting it around and lots of bullshit. So there you go. Look at the stitching, forced in the wrong directions back up here, but still at the hairline, that should work. That will be right, that Auschwitz tag will be right over that spot on my forehead, so hopefully that's not too visible. There's no way to get these things off. So, just looking through there, that's the back side of it, and this is what it looks like on the front. Very different to having V-lips, isn't it? Like the hairs are actually just coming out of potentially too dark at the roots again. I don't know. I don't know if I'll have to dye. The lighting here is so bad because it's too much sunlight and the phone just can't cope. Okay, so that's what it's going to be like at a front hairline. It's extreme density, isn't it? That can't work. I'll be forced into a brush forward look. It really is hard to there's no way that can look like a real hairline. Is there? Brush forward look though. If I want to have a brush forward look at all times, which means no real oomph lift at the front here, which I do like. I don't see how that will be achieved using this flat. What's going on there at that front there? It's like, is there some sort of discoloration already? What? Why is there darkness in there? Should I have cut off that front edge of plastic? I didn't know. See, I just cut around interiorly. I didn't get this outer edge. Surely that bit doesn't matter, does it? It's not discolored in any way. I just can't see how this is going to look good. There's grey hair there. Can you see that one? See, I think I had to snip some of these hairs when I was cutting it out, see, and it just fucked them up. But we've still got this cornfield line problem. I might have to see. I just can't imagine. Okay, and with a brush back look, if I were to position it in the opposite direction, if this isn't the ultimate, this injection stuff, then we're gonna have to stick with V-lips. Can you imagine? Imagine that. That is awful, isn't it? It's of no benefit whatsoever to try to add to the realism. In terms of the thickness of this base, I can't really tell. You know, I might see if I were to have it forced back like that, so that the hairline is back at all times, so that there's no hiding the hairline. Sorry, I'm gonna flip the camera because I know you can't see shit. Alright, so, what does that mean? Still the wrong way. Yeah, still the wrong way. Okay, I'm recording this direction now. So I'm gonna stick you on. Terrible. Then so is that. Now it's all wet and glue coming through and stuff. Sweaty. Just need to clean up this hairpiece I'm wearing. And look at the colour difference. So wrong, isn't it? Now with a brushed forward look. See, the problem is I can't actually dye. I can't bleach these front hairs from what I can understand because all these hairs will be forced forwards. Oh man, look at those lines in there. Look at that, can you see the straight lines? It continues to be just as unrealistic as always. Wow, that's shocking, isn't it? This is injection. I'll never order this again. It's definitely not the answer. But then again, looking at that, that's not the answer either. But it's better, I can work with this and fix it and stuff. So this hairpiece is a month old, right? I mean, this is why I throw them out after a month. I can't be bothered cleaning that shit up. The discoloration, the scraggly cuts. Don't want to dye it. Fucking, it's ruined, okay? A month is enough. Don't want to keep a hairpiece longer than that. So, this is awful. It's got to be bleached. There's no way around it. I could risk wearing it backward facing for a month so my hair's always back. Would I be willing to risk that? It is COVID times. It would be the ultimate test. And potentially I could brush it forward with a bit of an overhang. Not overhang, just... It's just gonna look awful, isn't it? Look how dense that... Is that just the density? What is that? Is it like super high density or something? I don't understand what's going on. Why is that so fake looking? It's the most extreme fake looking hairpiece I've ever seen. What do you think? It's extremely fake, isn't it? Imagine wearing that. Fucking hell. So, should I dye that end after forcing the hairs back with some water and a brush? Or should I dye this other side? I'm gonna dye one of the sides, I can tell you that. Just do one of each, given that I hate this hairpiece. Let's look at this base material again. I want to show you, it's very strange the way it behaves. It's got practically no, well it does have stretch there, but it's strange. It's a different type of stretch compared to all the other, like 0.03. This feels like 0.1 or something massive. It's not. .03 millimeter, 30 micron. I don't care. Look, people saying 0.03 millimeter poly sounds too long-winded. 30 micron poly. I don't know if this actually is 30 micron poly. It seems too thick. These are fucking. You just saw. Waste an entire box of this. Given that this is just for experiment purposes, I'm going to do one facing either direction. Now, I guess what will determine that is what side this Auschwitz tag is on. It's likely to look better with the Auschwitz tag further back up here, really not in direct sight. So this piece will get the, oh no it can't, that's not what's going to determine it. Right, the problem is this is the center crown part. So this cannot be at the front of the hairline no matter what, because it's all starting to go in all weird directions. So this one has to be the brush forward look hairpiece. So I'll make that the front hairline. All right, don't worry, I'll fix it. Okay, so this is going to be the brushed back look. As you can see at the moment, it's extremely unrealistic. And then this will be the brushed forward look with the Auschwitz tag close to the forehead. But it's going to be hard not to get bleach in those other hairs. So I'll just do all this. I need two hands, so on this occasion I'm going to get rid of this phone so I can't mess it up. So after 25 minutes of bleaching time, I think that's blonde enough. So this is the one where the hair piece has the front hairline over this side. Still looks like shit, doesn't it? And then this one, as you can see, the bleach could not penetrate into the plastic, so we've got black roots embedded under every hair, irredeemable, could not be salvaged. I'll now hold this against my forehead if I can try to keep this in shot. Yeah, there's no way that could ever possibly look real, so this is going straight into the garbage bin. Look at it. There's no way I'm taking my current hairpiece off my head so I can put this one on. Not in a million years will that ever look right. There's nothing that can be done to save that. Now, this one. This is the arse end piece with the Auschwitz tag and all the havoc-y directions up there. This would be a brushed forward look. You know what, I'm gonna put this on. The strange thing about this material, this 0.03mm base they're claiming, well, that's what I paid for, is the weird thing is it doesn't have much flex. Like, it wants to stay this shape. It doesn't become a flat piece. You see what I'm saying? It remains rounded, forcibly so. I haven't encountered a piece that can't be flattened at this. Okay, so this is the last piece I just took off my head, with the colour of that one, and then the colour of the new one. Very different. This one's not wet, but still, it's a pretty extreme difference. And that's the front hairline that was just bleached just then. Crazy difference in colour, right? Okay, so I'm going to apply glue to the back 3/4 as I did last time. So I'm going to pre-glue this hairpiece. One astounding thing about this material, it's like leather, unlike this material, which is a lot more like thin plastic. But the astounding thing is that, you know, all the hairs are just neatly out of my way because they're forced in one direction. There's no ambiguity. Potentially the perimeter is going to look like shit where it meets my natural hairline as well, because there's not going to be much tussle going on back there, you know what I'm saying? This is the pre-mixed tincture, the alcohol and glue 50-50 mix, very thin, very easy to paste on. Yeah, like I said, I hadn't experienced any problems with this thin mixture the first 3 days. I'll tell you what, it sure is easy to paste on. It saves time. I assume it dries quicker as well. Yeah, like I said, this does not really want to go flat, this hairpiece. That's why there are these bumps all the way through, but can't be really flattened. See, the reason I don't want to do the front of the hairpiece is because that's the bit that's going to smush around all over my forehead. So that's going to create glue too far down. That's why I want to do it in 2 parts, but unfortunately I've created a bit of a puddle here. So let's just let all that dry. There are minor bumps in there, but the thickest bump is only going to be as thick as a normal blob of Walker tape ultra hold without the dilution. Yeah, I'm very happy with this new glue. If this fails, this hairpiece, because it looks like it's pretty much going to be shit, the glue is one good thing that's come out of all of this. You can see a month-old hairpiece. It's tattered because, you know, I never really measured my stencil nicely enough, so I've always got problems where the perimeter meets. and I can never bothered getting glues out of the front, because after a while the poly does have some porousness, so the glue does come through there, and it's just a bit of a pain in the ass to clean. So even though this hairpiece is cut to size and I could potentially wear again, it's the wrong color. I've got a year's supply of 0.06 millimeter poly anyway, so this is going in the bin. Even though those 0.06 millimeter poly hairpieces are all low density and you can tell there are cornfield lines through them, at least I can potentially wear them forward. It's a pity this one has not worked out. Now, New Times Hair wants me to do some ads for them in exchange for discount coupons for you guys and stuff, but you know, I'm too honest. Yeah, look at me, look at Moy. So basically, New Times Hair, the people have made this hairpiece, have wanted me to make videos for them to promote their products. But as you can see, I've just ripped one of their products to pieces. It's a bad hairpiece. What am I gonna do? Because I was trying to negotiate something with them to give you discounts and maybe give me some commission and stuff like that. They probably won't want to do it with me now, but that's what this hairpiece is like. They shouldn't be making hairpieces like this. Maybe all injection hairpieces are like that, but still, why would they sell them? Why would it even exist if it looks like shit? There's no situation, surely, that you can imagine in which that hairpiece is going to look realistic on anybody's head. Can't see it ever looking right. It looks absolutely fake. It's the most fake hairpiece I've ever seen in my whole life. Sorry, that's the truth. Now, despite the nature of this glue being really nice on the skin and everything, and this is what's happening. It's not drying nicely. It's thin, and look, this has been drying now for, well, ages. With such a high alcohol content, I would have thought it would just evaporate and dry quickly, but it's been a long time and that's not effective. So I don't know what to do about that. The thinned out glue is not working nicely in this instance. It might just be that I've got to wait longer, because surely it's not going to remain this wet forever. It's been a really long time. It's been, I would say, at least half an hour of drying, and as I pick it up it's just peeling off, so I don't know what to do. Maybe I just have to wait longer. I'll just wait longer. Okay, so I've come to the conclusion that this really isn't the best glue for applying a thick underlay. The ratio is wrong. It's great for the front hairline, but it's not great for this bulk, for the prominence. I'm gonna put down some concentrate, some Walker Tape Ultra Hold that has not been diluted. Okay, so the results of this experiment are that the 50-50 1-to-1 ratio alcohol and Walker Tape Ultra Hold glue gave a very weak hold, and it was popping off all over the place around on this. So I put an extra layer over it with the 100% undiluted Walker Tape Ultra Hold, and that appears to be more firm now. There's still a lot of that stuff lying around on here underneath it, so I'm not completely trusting of it. This dried within 15 minutes. That stuff didn't even dry within about 45 minutes. So I'll continue to use this for the front hairline, but I can't really trust it when I'm putting it down on this. And interestingly, I mean, I have not even got any glue on my head, which is completely unusual for me, which means I could just put on a hat if somebody did come to the front door right now to make a delivery or something, which I usually have to keep hiding and stuff throughout the whole episode. But I'd really, obviously rather never be seen like this. But it's interesting to not ever have glue on my head until it's time to put a pre-glued hairpiece down. I still do like the idea of it. I just gotta keep practicing, and I just don't think the diluted glue is good enough to lay that down. So pretty much got to stick to this stuff. Okay, so the risks involved in placing the hairpiece down when it's pre-glued is that you're going to smush the glue all around through these back hairs. But it's less glue in those back hairs than you would normally do. Well, what I would normally do is paint all the way back there, or paste all the way back there, and then pick those bits of glue out. This eliminates the need for that. Also, there's usually some sort of overhang because my stencil isn't perfect. And when you glue right to the edges, it is kind of perfect. So as long as I really line that up nicely back here. So I'll start by spraying that and spraying that. It would have been better probably to wet the hairpiece a little bit so I've got more visibility through the hairs, but it's still somewhat damp, I suppose. So I need more alcohol than that. Try not to slide around too much. I've lost where the corner is. Yeah, as I was worried, this material doesn't seem to have too much stretch to it. Now, I don't know if it's just a different type of plastic that they've used or if it's in fact thicker than 0.03, which would be false advertising, but not sure. I've never had an injection hairpiece before. I'm also concerned about the blending back here because the entirety of the fluff is going to have to come from my own natural bio hairs, which will have to dangle down over the very, very sharply edged unidirectional hair follicles that are just pushing it in one direction only. So can't really have a gap up here, can't have overhang either, but it's a very clear gap if there is one in it. So I'm just going to put some water down over all of this now and, well, brush it back if that's even possible. See if I've got the front hairline straight. Yeah, so we have not eliminated the problem of those cornfield lines, even though this doesn't even have V-loops. Well, it's an expensive experiment, but there you go, people. I pay money so that you can learn. In the quest to find the ultimate hairpiece. That, even with injection hairpieces, it's still, the roots still need bleaching. Wasn't even able to overcome it, even with this, what you would think would be the ultimate method of having invisible roots, because it's sort of almost like having no roots, really. No roots at all, and yet still there they are. Really dark and very fucking ugly. And then I got that mix of colors at the front where I had to try to bleach the front area to try to make it more seamless. And yet it still looks like a dead rat on my head. This might have to be thrown in the garbage after the first day. Oh, even just looking through there, there's no hiding that fakeness. And without any kind of fluff at all, because it's dead straight, this is 100% guaranteed the worst hairpiece I've ever seen in my whole life. There's absolutely nothing realistic about this whatsoever. It is so shit. So, one good thing about it is in terms of the flatness, it doesn't it's going to behave. I know if I brush it, it's going to behave. But look back there. How am I going to cover that nicely? That's going to be pretty shitty, mostly visible to everybody all the time. All right, straight ahead. I'm going to just cut my amp, then chuck it in the bin probably, and have to do this all again. Fuck. Can't bother doing it today, so I'll have to wear the shitty hairpiece for a couple of days. I don't think it'll grow on me. All right, wetness. Now look at the plastic, it's so visible. You get the problem with the plastic and the gap. And it feels resistant to being brushed back as well. Plus you got those extreme cornfield lines that I thought shouldn't exist. And yet there they are. Such a shame, isn't it? It's totally looking forward to injection hairpieces being the ultimate solution, but fuck me, that's shit, man. In terms of controllability, that's all I'll be able to observe now. Unless somehow this all covers over itself and disguises what ugliness we can easily, clearly see. All the hairs are long and wet. Yeah, the handling, it's pretty freaking awkward. Just knowing that I can see how ugly it is all the way through. Can you imagine if I hadn't bleached it? You saw what it was like at the beginning. Maybe I should save my hairpiece that I just threw out from the bin. At least that's got a haircut and I don't have to put on a new piece straight away. Then again, it's been a month. I might as well just get rid of it. Just look at that. Look at that. Why would you sell that if you were a company? Why would you even sell this? Yeah, unless New Times Hair does something drastic with a new piece that they want to give me or whatever, I can never use this company. And I can't recommend them either. So 1 out of 1 hairpieces is like this so far. And they were pretty confident that I was going to review it as well, so. If this is what they give to people who are going to review hairpieces, imagine the quality they give to somebody who's not going to review it. It's extra hard pulling this back because it doesn't want to go in any other direction except for forwards. So I really got to force it back. Okay, so I will be using the diluted glue for this front section. Damn it. Whoa, it's so wet, it's so drippy. You can't take a big chunk of glue at a time with this stuff, you just gotta keep dipping small amounts. Yeah, maybe a ratio a bit, I don't know. The only reason to not make this as thinned out as it is, okay, there are two reasons I've seen so far. One is you don't want it to drip while you're putting it from the brush to your head. And number two, it doesn't seem to adhere very well to the prominent area, the back, the prominence, that's what I call it. Seems to have a weak amount of group hold back there for some reason, even though it seems to work on the front hairline, or it did in my last piece that I just took off today. That bit there probably have to be cut off at the end. Yeah, you can see the bleach color difference a bit. All right, so before I clear all these hairs out of the sink, I'll just wait for all that to sort of dry because I did drip some glue in there, so it's easy to just pick it off instead of making a big mess. All right, I'm fucking tired. I'll come back after this is dried a bit. Okay, let's see what this does for my ugly mug. Wow, it really falls flat, doesn't it? Amazing. So the bleaching causes a bit of a problem here at the front if you want to keep that uniform, because I wasn't able to bleach down through something that's not being able to peel back. I did my best. But look at the buffiness level of my normal hair compared to the flatness of this. Then again, there was that concept of making a full topper out of this. And if that was the case, there would be no buff back here, it would just go all the way through. But then you'd have to worry about that connection line all the way across. Now this joint here at the perimeter, I can feel there's a pretty certain flatness going on back here, which will not allow it to sort of fluff into, create a nice natural looking perimeter. Yeah, this is pretty dense, I think. And also through the gaps, you can see that it looks pretty fake. Yeah, and that mix of bleaching at the front and not bleaching, and it annoyingly just flops straight down over the forehead, like there's no control at all. If I were to put some product in it, let's use something strong like muck, try and keep it back a bit. I must admit, this is a terrible haircut, but usually the haircuts are more forgiving than this. Maybe it was because I cut it while it was... Right, I'll give it a better haircut, okay? I'll just start from down the front here. Okay, so let's say layer 3 back here. It doesn't really want to stay up. Yeah, it's annoying the way it just flops down into the across the forehead like this. Just look at those lines. It's so fake. And then there as well, just straight away, it's just all fake all the way through. I've never had such a problem. I mean, I've talked about cornfield lines in recent days. A term I invented just being straight lines. But you can't just say straight lines when you're talking about hair, because it's fucking everything's to do with straight lines. So I had to give it a specific name so you knew exactly what I was talking about each time. Even though it's clearly not made out of corn, it has nothing to do with corn. It could be wheat lines. I'm just going to call it cornfield lines from now on anyway. There's no good reason except for the fact that I need to differentiate it from other types of lines. Alright, looks like it's just this front heel on it. Looks like I must have got some glue in there as well, not good. Yeah, in terms of believability at the front hairline, there is no believability. In fact, there's no hairline. The hairline somehow magically doesn't exist. But I will cut off this fringe a bit. Look at that perimeter, so revealed, isn't it? So obvious and fake. Even the act of cutting hair is made harder by the flow of these hairs. Get this piece of fluff out of here. And there's evident kind of almost whiteness happening at the scalp that's not as clear as usual. So I don't usually have a problem getting that far away. So I'm very close to the perimeter there. You can't get much closer. So I can't see a way that could be blended at all. It's almost like impossible to make that blend. Any further back, it would be overlapping. So, I mean, I got it perfect, didn't I? Look at it. But still, I can't correct it. You can see it all through there. It's pretty dead on, isn't it? So, I didn't fail that. It's just the hairpiece itself can't cope. All right, so in terms of neatness, in terms of a neat hairstyle, that's one thing that you'd buy something like this for, isn't it? So, I'm going to put some hairstyling product in it and see how well it is brushed into a very, very neat looking hairstyle. If you have any curl in your hair whatsoever, I'd say probably don't buy this. But then again, if you've got very straight hair, it's something you shouldn't buy either. Because there's no way to make that perimeter blend. I'm putting muck in my hair. Trying to really blend this back here, but it's not really working. And I'm seeing all these lines in this gap here and stuff. Let me flip the camera in for you, and also the bleach doesn't help. It's ugly. Alright, let me just clean my hands a bit. This lid doesn't ever go back on properly anyway. Alright, on it. Some of this happening. I'll brush it and clean some of this stuff out of the sink as well. But I think importantly, you need to see what's going on here through the real camera, the other camera. So unforgiving. Look at that. It's really unforgiving. And then there's got this dark line right across the front hairline somehow. Can't brush it back to keep it off the face. Any kind of side part or anything you try to do, it just wants to flip back anyway. It's a really ugly hairpiece all the way around. I can try to lift this and force stretch it back that way. And we'll see how that goes. There will be some overhang in that situation. No, it's too stuck down at the moment. I'm just gonna have to leave it, and that's what this hairpiece looks like. It's with hair product and everything. I strongly urge you never to buy this. It's $200 down the drain. Fucking hell, that's the worst hairpiece I've ever seen. So, I don't know if this is all injection hairpieces, but you don't hear many people talking about them, do you? I'd say, why would you sell this if you're a company? Why would you sell a hairpiece that's this bad? There's absolutely nobody this could work for. Like, how could it work? It just doesn't blend at the perimeter. It's forced forwards. If you're gonna paste your hair to your forehead like this to make it actually stay where it needs to stay, then you might as well use any other type of hairpiece with unbleached knots, because there's no difference. It's just, that's the best I can do with this fucking hairpiece. This is so embarrassing. I'll be ripping this thing off my head while I lie in bed later on today as well. Because that is fucking embarrassing. There's no fluffing I can do, it's just... Is my forehead too low? It just feels like it's in the right spot. It just... Like, what the fuck is this shit, man? It's the worst hairpiece. Honestly, why would anybody sell this? Like, you can't just have a company and say, alright, well, we gave you the bad hairpiece, it was your decision to buy the fucking injection hairpiece, so that's not our fault. It's like, why are you selling products that are shit for hundreds of dollars? You can't be trusted as a company. That's all there is to it. Unless there is some amazing kind of callback you're doing on these things and you're going to reimburse us, pay us back our money. This is a joke. What the fuck is this shit, man? It's crazy. It's the worst hairpiece by far I've ever seen.